It is said that there are tens of thousands of castle ruins, from castle ruins with castle towers to castle ruins that are only piled up with earth. I will introduce the castles called Meho, largest of the 12 existing castle towers. It is a beautiful pure white castle, also called White Heron Castle. Now that the Heisei era repair has been completed, you can see the exterior shining white. Castle towers, where the castle tower from the early Edo period has survived the Meiji Castle Abandonment Ordinance and the war. There are many important cultural properties remaining, including the castle tower designated as a national treasure, the drum gate turret, the balance turret, and the Nishinamaru 3-story. In 1537 by Oda Nobuyasu, Nobunaga's uncle. The castle tower is one of the 5 national treasure castles, said to be the oldest in Japan. The name of the castle can be seen in important historical scenes such as the Battle of Kamaka and Nagakute and the Battle of Sekigahara. Is the oldest surviving 5-storied, 6-story castle tower in Japan. It is one of the famous castles representing Japan. The pitch-black castle keep, the many gaps left in the wooden fence, and the calculated width of the moat are practical constructions. Matsu Castle is one of the existing castle towers, where the state at the time of construction has been preserved. This is the structure inside the castle tower assuming a siege battle. It is a battle-like castle that has been well thought out for both offense and defense. Castle towers, that retains the state of the castle when it was built, such as the castle tower, turret, castle gate, and 3-story water moat. The surrounding area is maintained as Hirosaki Park, and is one of the best cherry blossom viewing spots in the northern Tohoku region. The interior of the castle is a museum that introduces the history of the feudal era. Tower of Maruoka Castle has a simple, old-fashioned architectural style with a small turret on top of an oromoya. It features a high defense function that delays enemy attacks, such as countless gaps and steep stairs. Known as the Mountain Castle in the Sky, because it is located at the highest point in Japan as a existing castle tower, and a sea of clouds occurs in the area. The castle tower, turrets, and earthen walls that were built in the Edo period still exist, making it one of Japan's top 3 mountain castles. It is designated as a national important cultural property. The existing castle towers, where the castle tower has been preserved as it is. The approximately 60 meters stone wall that stretches from the inner moat to the castle tower is known as the tallest in Japan, and is called the Ugi no Gradient, because of its beautiful curves. The Teiko-mon Gate, Korai-mon Gate, and the entrance gate of the feudal lord, which was the front gate of the Kyogoku family's mansion, still exist today. Of the 12 existing castle towers. In addition to the castle tower, 21 structures such as turrets and castle gates are designated as important cultural properties. There are many buildings that were rebuilt after entering the Showa period. You can see the long Nobori Ishigaki, built along the slope of the mountain. Castle with many highlights other than the keep, such as the majestic Yakuimon, which is said to be the main gate of the samurai family. You can see a highly decorative castle tower with less military elements that symbolizes a peaceful era. This is 240,000 koku land, which still has a castle tower built in the Edo period. Kochi Castle is the only castle in Japan that still has a Honmaru Palace along with a castle tower. 15 structures, including the 3-layer 6-story castle tower, are designated as important cultural properties. After the opening of Edo, and became the center of politics as the residence of the shogun. After the Meiji Restoration, it became the imperial palace, and the east gardens are open to the public. The majesty of the castle can be felt from the existing castle tower base of the castle tower. You can feel the dignity of the Tokugawa family in the large castle tower, which was rebuilt in the 30s of the Showa era in the appearance of the Edo period, the golden shachihoko, and the splendid stone walls. Although it boasted a scale that surpassed that of Azuki Castle, it fell during the summer siege of Osaka. Due to the Tokugawa shogunate's reconstruction work, Osaka Castle, of the Toyotomi era was buried in the ground. The remains of Osaka Castle that remain today are from the Edo period, and the castle tower is the third generation that was restored in 1931. Kumamoto Castle was built by Kiyomasa, who is known as a master of castle construction, and is characterized by its strong construction, including stone walls called Sinabigaeshi, that prevent foreign enemies from entering. It was damaged during the Kumamoto earthquake in 2016, but you can see the progress of reconstruction from outside the castle. The highlight of Nijo Castle is the gorgeous Ninamaru Palace. Himeji Castle and Nijo Castle are the only Japanese castles registered as World Heritage Sites. Yoshinobu, the 15th shogun, announces the restoration of imperial rule in the Great Hall of the Ninamaru Palace, returning the government to the imperial court. The Edo shogunate, which lasted for 264 years, came to an end here. Hiroshima Castle was completely destroyed by the atomic bomb. It is a huge castle with 88 turrets, and the current castle tower, which was restored based on the drawings of the time, is the third generation. The interior of the castle tower is a history museum. There is an experience corner where you can wear armor and helmets. Tsuyama Castle is a modern Hirayama castle. The 45 meters high stone steps with fan-shaped slopes convey the atmosphere of the past. It is also famous as one of Japan's top 100 cherry blossom spots, and about 1,000 cherry blossom trees bloom in spring. The ruins of Takamatsu Castle, one of Japan's three major water castles, is now open to the public as a park. A huge water castle that has undergone repeated repairs and reconstructions. The moat is filled with seawater from the Seto Inland Sea. Imabari Castle is a castle designed by Takadora Todo, who is known as a master of castle construction. It is a water castle that draws seawater into the moat of Mie. The five-storied, sixth-floor castle tower was rebuilt in 1980, and exhibits materials related to the Imabari clan inside. Among the water castle's sea castles where seawater flows into the moat, Nakatsu Castle is one of Japan's top three castles along with Imabari Castle in Ehime Prefecture and Takamatsu Castle in Kagawa Prefecture. The current castle tower was built in 1964. The interior is a museum of the Okudera family, who ruled Nakatsu since 1717. 785. It is one of Japan's top 100 castles and is a famous castle with strong fortifications. At an altitude of 717 meters, it is the highest castle in Japan. The stone walls piled up like tiered tiers are like the ruins of Machu Picchu. Takatori Castle is one of Japan's three major mountain castles, built on the summit of Takatori during the period of the Northern and Southern courts. The stone walls that remain today remind us of the harsh appearance of the time when it was said to be impregnable. It is one of the largest mountain castles in Japan. The highlight is the castle tower with a height of about 10 meters. Zeze Castle is a castle with a natural moat surrounded by lake water. After the castle was abandoned during the Meiji Restoration, the ruins of the main enclosure were maintained as a park. It is also known as a cherry blossom viewing spot. It is said that Takashima Castle was also called Suwa's Floating Castle, because it was a water castle that protruded into Lake Suwa. Surrounded by Lake Suwa on three sides, the castle is protected by a natural water moat. It is now maintained as a park and is crowded with many people during the cherry blossom and wisteria seasons. Takada Castle is an unusual castle for a feudal lord, and is said to have never been built with stone walls. Today, the three-storied turret and Gokurakubashi Bridge have been restored, and you can see parts of the main enclosure earthen walls, the inner moat, and the outer moat. The outer moat is famous for lotus flowers, and the castle grounds are famous for cherry blossoms at night. Sunpu Castle is the residence of the Imagawa clan, where Ieyasu Tokugawa spent 13 years as a hostage. Today, you can see the East Gate, Tatsumi Yagura, and Kan Yagura, which were restored using Edo period construction methods. The role of伊賀上野Castle was to protect Osaka Castle. The current castle tower is a wooden reconstruction on top of the tower base built by Takadora. The remains that remain today are from the restoration. The highlight is the high stone wall and deep moat built towards Osaka Castle.丹波亀山Castle underwent a major renovation under the Tenka Fushin. Currently, only the fan-shaped stone wall, castle tower, and part of the inner moat remain. You can see the size of the renovation-scale Tenka Fushin from the stone walls engraved with family crests and banners. Sasayama Castle was built in 1609 by order of Ieyasu Tokugawa. It is also called Kiriga Castle. It is a castle that was built in just half a year. Goryakaku is a castle built for the purpose of defending Izachi, where a magistrate's office was established when the port of Hakodate was opened. As one of the largest Western-style castles in Japan, it is still a famous spot in Hakodate. Sendai Castle was completed in 1602, when the Hanmaru mountain castle was built by Date Masamune, the ruler of Oshu. Models of stone walls that were laid in different ways depending on when the castle was built and when it was restored are on display. You can catch a glimpse of what was said to be the most victorious and most solid castle. Shirakawa Komine Castle has its origins when a castle was built in Kominigoka during the period of the northern and southern courts. It is one of the three most famous castles in the Tohoku region and is made entirely of stone walls, which is rare in the Tohoku region. Burnt down in the Boshin War. Currently, the three-storied turret and front gate have been restored based on the Edo period drawings. Odawara Castle is one of the largest in the Sengoku period, with a tsugame that surrounds the castle and its surroundings with earthworks and moats. You can also see the sturdiness from the remaining dry moat and Komine Gokanodai Ohori. Takariku Castle that is praised for its elegance and formality. In the Heisei era, turrets, gates, row houses, etc. have been restored one after another. Stone walls built in a variety of styles still exist, and it is also called the Museum of Stone Walls. Gifu Castle is a castle built on the summit of Mt. The biggest highlight is the stone wall, which is said to be from the Nobunaga era. The keep, which was rebuilt in 1956, has historical materials exhibition rooms that introduce the history of Gifu Castle on the first to third floors, and an observatory on the top floor. Mountain Castle built on the summit of Mount Kojo at an altitude of 353.7 meters. The castle was abandoned during the Edo period. It boasts one of the largest scales in Japan as a complete stone wall remains. It is called Castle in the Sky, or Japan's Machu Picchu, because of the stone walls floating in the sea of clouds. Yorinobu entered Wakayama Castle and greatly expanded it. It is one of Japan's three largest coalition Hirayama Castle. The highlights are the stone walls built with different materials and methods of construction, such as Kishu blue stone, from the Toyotomi period, Izumi sandstone, from the Asano period, and granite, from the Tokugawa period. By Kuroda Kanbei. It is the largest castle in Kyushu. Don't miss the solid high stone walls designed by Sasuke Noguchi Kazunari, a construction magistrate. Thank you for reading. Please subscribe. I will introduce Japanese culture and sightseeing spots.